Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you for being here. If you clicked on this video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. If you find this informative, if you're looking at a 1090, let's get into my 2-year ownership. Almost 20,000 miles on the bike now. Getting into the 1090 platform, you can see here, size 12 foot boots. So yeah, you got about 11-12 inches of ground clearance once you're on the bike. So it's a tall bike because of said thing. So I'll show you. I'm 5'8", 32-inch inseam here, okay? It's where the bike comes up to me, and the seat is mid-hip. With all my shit here, if I can do it. I'm kind of in a hole here, but try to get it. There you go. Like, I can get the balls of my toes on both sides down like that. So that's normal position. And I do, because it's so tall, I use the pegs to get off and on. This is an off-road platform. It's got really stiff suspension. You can modify that with your clicker settings, right? So it is what you want to make it. If you like that spongy, I'm going to say Honda or Suzuki or Japanese bike feeling, you're not going to like this platform. You're going to like this platform suspension-wise if you like riding the gravel roads hard and fast. 20-30 on up, because the suspension feels rough at slow speeds. At high speeds, it just soaks that up and you don't even feel the potholes. So, excellent platform. I love that about it. I love the suspension. With the 6-gallon fuel tank, back to that, range-wise, I'm getting 250 miles, 200 miles. It depends on how you ride the bike. It's got two personalities, I think this bike has, to me. You have a friendly, because you got different modes you can ride in. You can ride in rain mode, street mode, sport mode. And those all make a difference in fuel economy and power delivery and whatnot. So if you put this in rain mode and you're cruising across, a state, doing whatever, highway, you're going to get, 250 miles of range out of this, out of 6 gallons. So do the math. If you're riding that same trip in sport mode, you're going to probably be closer to the 200 mile mark. It's just a lot higher, sportier. You feel it. I didn't feel the difference when I first got this bike too much in the modes, but after owning it for, I think it was like 6 weeks, there's a noticeable difference in power delivery. Noticeable difference. When it's raining, I put it in rain mode. Leave the traction control on. I've never had an issue. Even with my Motos. I love my Motos. Thanks, Greg. I've never had a problem with the Motos tire. Nice, soft compound. Speaking of tires, I run 28 pounds front and rear. The little lower weight-wise, so it's like 500 pounds, maybe a little more. And it carries it all right where this fuel tank sits. You feel top heavy there, so when I'm walking the bike and whatnot, I'm putting my hip into it, and I'm up here with the bars, because the weight's not from behind the pegs back. There's no weight. It's all one mass right there, fairly low. We're in a, it doesn't look like it here, but we're in a divot hole like this, uphill there, uphill here. So let's just put my hip in it. Just practices I've picked up that make working with this bike easier. Kickstand. See if we can find the clutch with our bag. But KTM's nice enough to put these grab handles here, which I use a lot, and find they work pretty decently. I'm hitting a thing here, so I'll grab this tusk bar and give it a bump. But it's heavy. I'm not gonna lie. It depends really on the shape you're in. I don't think a 500-pound bike is for somebody who's not physically fit like myself right now. A year ago, that's a different story. If you're gonna ride a bike like this is a great bike for touring. It doesn't get blown around on the road, I noticed, too much. This little windscreen here, if you can kind of see it, it's only so big. Maybe I'll put a photo here. I find the windshield is definitely adequate. It's great in the down position for local riding and stuff. I get all clean air in my face. In the up position, I get maybe mid-face, like in my eyes or just over, in the windshield in the up position. I have had no problem with it even in pouring rain. And it's Washington State, so it rains a lot. I noticed in some other review videos, I've never ridden an Africa Twin, but this is what kind of comparable this is to. This has a flat, more MX style bars. They're wide and they're square, so you're really let's see here. So you really do kind of, I should have got rid of the helmet, but you can put your feet, like KTM designed, the seat comes around the fuel tank there. You can really put your knees on that and get up and over the bars as such. And yeah, it's pretty capable. I sit up here a lot, get more weight over that front tire, or you can, move back. If you need to get your ass over the swing arm pivot. She's big, she's heavy. I'm trying to talk some people out of it if you're not sure if you want one or not, just because of the weight and the tallness. Benefits of being tall, though, you can, if you like playing around, you can ride over logs and not have to worry about it. It saved me, this novice rider. I get away with a lot on this bike that I shouldn't. I suck. It's all this bike. It makes it so easy. It just rolls over rocks and sticks and whatnot, have you. The foot peg width is like 18 inches. So riding on little trails, you're gonna hear that sound a lot, and it's a fucking foot peg. Unnerving when your foot's there, but I keep my toes. You can kind of rubbing on the case saver there. Let's get into reliability with this bike and what the maintenance is, what I've done, what I've experienced. The one and true thing that everybody seems to have a major problem with, first off the bat, is your slave cylinder for the clutch. Okay, it was a poor design. Everybody goes and gets that slave and racing and clutch thing, spend $150, $200. Here's the thing about that. I don't know why you had to feel like you have to replace the whole thing. You don't have to, but KTM, there's a little plastic disc in there. When you push the fluid, it pushes this little plastic disc, which pushes that pin in. And that little plastic disc has an O-ring, if you will. It's not an O-ring, it's a seal. But that seal on the side profile, where it fits there, is horseshoe shaped. It's a rubber band with two little horseshoes. And when that thing moves back and forth, it's going to bend, or drag, whatever way, when you're pulling on that clutch. And that's what goes bad in those, is that seal. I took that seal off. I went to Harbor Freight, $10. Bought a whole kit because I didn't know what size would fit it. I believe it's like a 14 mil. Don't quote me on that. But that's what I did. It's a regular standard O-ring with a lot more meat on the top. And I have put maybe 5,000 miles on that so far since it failed. And I have not had an issue with it leaking. So for $10, you can fix that. Other thing I've heard about is fuel pump issues. I've never experienced one yet. I'm sure it's in my mind, but again, it's just the tallness on the bike. So yeah, I'm new to that. And you just have to be conscious of where you decide you're going to stop and park. That can you touch both feet on the ground, or at least one foot, and slide off. You find out, that's when I drop the bike, is when I'm coming to a stop. That's the only time I've really trying to put a foot down when I should be. Like slow speed turnaround in the winter, I know, on the other side of the mountain there. For some reason I went to go put a foot down on the downhill side. And because that's what your instincts, you want to put a foot down, and yep, that's what happened. Should have just had waited on the other side and gave her a little gas. So yeah, it hits the ground a fair bit when I'm coming to a stop somewhere. And so when this bike's on the ground, when it falls over, it hits the crash bars here, protect the fuel tank, and your radiator sits behind the fuel tank, like back here. So the radiator's protected. Your fuel tank's all behind this crash bar. And I find the only thing that touches is right here. And then these Cycra handguards ends hit there. One thing we should always be checking is these bolts to those handguards when something like that happens. I like KTM also has put strap holders here on for soft luggage, if you will, or for any tie down purposes on each side. What else to say? This bike pumps out heat. Like if it's 70 degrees out or over, you're gonna feel some warmth in your regions. But in Washington, it's hardly ever that warm, and it's really nice to have basically a built-in heated seat when it's 50, 60, 40, 30 degrees. It's always cold and rainy, so that's nice. But in all honesty, if it's over 70 degrees, you're going to feel like you're on fire. Maintenance is easy. Put a picture up here. Changing the oil. You got two screens. You got a screen, filter, screen. So pretty easy accessible. You'll see in the picture. Brand of oil. I always use KTM. I usually go to KTM Twins and just buy the oil change kit for this. It takes all like 5 minutes to change the oil in this. I do end up taking the skid plate off because it's so close to the engine on this. So Black Dog Cycle Works. this bike came with, and this is very popular, the Rottweiler Stage 3 Delete Kit. Gets rid of the cat and all the emissions BS. Comes with a twin foam air filtration system. And then you see I got the pre-filters on the front up here. These little guys come in these little air scoops right here. You got this little foam filter that goes in there, and yep, it's trash on my bike, because that's how I treat my bike, like shit. So I treat this bike like shit, I neglect it, and it's still 100% been reliable. The clutch thing, I got lucky. That happened, I noticed driving home, it was starting to get a little not so great. Just spongy feeling, and when I got home, you could see the fluid, and then tried it a few times and there was no more fluid. Let's get some drone shots.